problem for me.
All
So
right.
if there's comments, will you be relaying them to me?
Oh, yeah. I will read all the comments that are coming on the channel.
Okay.
And we're live. It is Monday, and it's after hours, and today I have Christina Wallace with us tonight. She writes the Lightkeeper novels that are available on Amazon. Do you have them on Barnes & Noble too, or just Amazon?
Yes, they're available wide, so they're all major retailers.
All right, well, there you go. The link to all of her stuff is in the description down below. I also linked her link tree, which has all of your social platforms on it, I take it.
Yes.
And, well, awesome. Well, I guess we could just jump right into it here. Let me pull up my questions. Hey, Neil, how's it going? Okay, so are you self-published or did you go the traditional route?
I'm self-published.
What was your experience with publishing your first book?
So for my first book, I actually had been picked up by a publisher in the beginning. And right as we were a few months away, like 6 months out from it coming out, the company was forced out of business abruptly. And so I was kind of left on my own to where I was either going to have to start querying again, or I could learn how to publish it myself. And because my dreams were so close to being realized, I did not want to start over. So I very quickly learned everything that I could, trying to get feedback from other authors to make sure I was ticking off all the right boxes, and I just jumped in and got it published myself. And it's definitely been a learning curve. It's been getting easier, though.
Have you mastered marketing?
Does anybody master marketing?
I don't think a single author I talked to has. You said so. You started off with. You said you started off with a publishing house. Was it like a vanity publisher, or was it an actual like a small pub?
It was a small publisher. I was actually going to be their debut novel, and they just ran into some legal trouble over a name, and I got some bad advice, and it did not work out for them, unfortunately. But there's no hard problem, between them and me. I really appreciated them because I would not have had the courage to ever do it myself without them first believing in me. So I'm still grateful for that experience, even though I did not get to publish with them.
So that's cool. And so it wasn't like a scam or nothing. So it was just bad timing on their behalf. It happens, I guess. And then you went ahead and published, and this was the Lightkeeper, right? Your first one?
Yes.
Yes. Well, cool. All right. So you were also in the Navy and the reserves for 6 years. Did you start writing your books as active duty? Did you start writing your books as soon as you were discharged, or was there like a breather moment?
I've been writing ever since my high school days. I had a passion project that I was always working on while I was in the military, and that book is still not published. This book came to fruition when I was in the Institute for Children's Literature. It started off as a writing prompt that I was doing during a National Novel Writing Month competition as a short story, and then I elaborated on it for the first 3 chapters as a final assignment, and then by that point I knew that it had to be a full-length novel, and so it first began as a little short story in 2017, and then over the years I brought it up and got it ready to go and started shipping it around in 2020.
Well, that's kind of cool. So it started off as just a writing prompt, and you ran with it.
Yep.
That's kind of like what I did with. Wasn't really a writing prompt. It was more of a contest for vocal. But I entered in a contest on vocal for writing I wanted to write a dark western. Never done it before, and so I decided to turn it into a full length book, which is what I'm working on now. So it's kind of cool how just something you think is a one-off turns out to be something much grander, because now you've got 2 books in that series, right?
Yeah, and I have 6 planned. So book 2 came out in November, book 3 comes out in July, And then I'm going to be releasing a new book every July thereafter. And I have a spinoff series that I'm starting, and I'm trying to get a little a serial going as well. So it's really just expanded as I get more into it.
Well, that's kind of cool. So, and all this from a writing prompt.
That's right.
Let's see. So I know that excuse me. I know that you focus more on YA material in children's books, but do you ever find yourself being influenced from your experience in the Navy and the Reserves to write anything more than that, or is it just going to be um, the YA series that you're really focusing on, the series?
I don't generally write older than the new adult age. I like to keep my MCs fairly, not generally older than their young 20s. I don't personally read a lot of adult fantasy and literature myself, and so I write what I read, and that's just where I'm most comfortable. I like those 18 to 20-year-olds kind of
So
age gap.
we could always write about kids mounting a mutiny on a ship. I don't know. Spitballing. Anyway, um, oops. Let's see. Out of the books you have currently published, which do you think is your favorite, if you have one? Because I know that, like with I got my first book was Kingmaker, and it's a part of a 4-book series. But I know deep down that the second book is my favorite. Though, do you have one of those, or do you just view them all as equal?
It's hard because I have every book is going on in my mind simultaneously because I just had the audio book for book 2 in the series just got finished last week. And so I was reading my son book 1. I was listening to the audio and getting it ready for book 2. I've been writing book 3, which is with my developmental editor. And I'm just trying to think of where book 4 is going. But I really did enjoy book 2 because book 1, it's urban fantasy, so it takes wholly in place in this one neighborhood in middle America. But in book 2, we actually get to go into the fairy world. And so I got to create all these new things like, the man-eating trees and
Nice.
voices that try to lure you out in the desert and, those different kinds of fairy races that would be there. I have a floating castle that's powered by giant waterfalls that lift it from the ground. And it's just a lot of fun, you get to be so much more creative when you delve into that other world. And so it was a lot of fun to write that one.
Yeah, I would say so. The whole man-eating tree. Maybe they are attacked by a vicious tree. That sounds like a really fun book. So, um, so you also think your second one is your fun book. I wonder if it's
Yeah,
I wonder if it's because we lay out the groundwork for the first one, and so we get the world built and the characters established, and then the second one is like we just take off of it. Do you feel that's how you went about writing the second one, or?
yeah. It was really important to me to make sure that book 2 was like the best thing. Like you want to make sure that your book 1 is good because obviously it's the start to the series.
Hmm.
But knowing that I had 6 books planned, I worked even harder on book 2 because if book 2 wasn't good, no one's going to read books 3 through 6.
Yeah.
So I think I spent even more time on that one and, really seeking out other people to make sure that it was as polished as it could be. And so it's been very rewarding because I've had a lot of people tell me that they themselves really enjoyed book 1, but they liked book 2 even more. And so that just speaks to me that it was all worth it and that I'm going the right direction.
Well, that's cool. So, like, for writers, it seems like sequels are where it's at, because in movies, sequels rarely live up to the expectation.
Yeah.
Um, do you use like when you publish your books, do you have beta readers or do you do arcs and stuff like that, or do you just toss it to your editors and say good luck?
I do art readers when it's the first book in the series. It's a little bit harder when it's the sequel because I didn't have I haven't developed a arc team yet where they stay on board for all the books. So that's something that I'm working on developing. Um, So when I had book 2 come out, I actually gave people both books for free so that they could catch up with me. But I try to go through all the steps. If I did beta readers, they didn't like the book, so then I went to my developmental editor, went back to beta readers, and they gave the thumbs up, and then I sent out the ARC readers and got all the editors on board. So I do try to get the alpha and beta feedback now that I know the process better.
Yeah. I love my beta readers. They turned my first book into something way different than I thought, for the better. Um, I won't go into it, but it was a much different story. I added more than 12,000 words to it.
Yeah.
So you, I had a question that, Neo says on YouTube says the techniques of marketing books seems to vary with every author. What do you think is the hardest part of marketing for you?
For me, it's that I don't have that kind of magnetic personality. Like my husband, when he walks into a room, he just attracts attention. He's larger than life. When he speaks to people, his voice carries, whereas I've always been a person that very easily fades into the background. And so it's hard for me to put my face on camera and feel like I'm really engaging because it doesn't feel authentic to me. And I feel like that people scrolling through social media, that they see that. And so that's something I'm still really trying to work on, is how to show myself in a way that is authentic but also engaging.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest issues. I never market anything, mostly because I'm just too busy. I really should spend time doing that, though.
It's very fascinating for sure.
Well, it's like I tell everybody, if they don't know the book exists, no one's going to buy it.
Yep.
Okay, what kind of struggles did you have while writing your books, if any? I know I often struggle with time management because I live in chaos, but like you have children, right?
I do. I have
So
a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old.
how easy was it for you to balance all that when you were writing your books?
So I am pretty stubborn. So if I set goals for myself, I'm very good about making sure I achieve them. That being said, I specifically write in times that the kids are not around, because otherwise, even if I tell my husband that, I'm like, all right, 7 o'clock, I got to write 1,000 more words. He's like, okay, I'll wrangle the kids. I still hear them screaming up and down the hall and calling for me and banging on my door and them going, leave me alone. And it's hard for me to focus and all that noise. So my little one's in preschool now, so I've got like 3 hours through the day where there's no kids around. I'm like we're going to power through this real fast. But if I say that I'm going to write 3,000 words in a day, then that's what I mean. If I only get 2,000 words in the morning, then I'm going to find that time in the evening to get that last 1,000 words. Because sometimes I do get myself in really tight time constraints, and that's what it takes, is to write 3,000 words a day.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm kind of amazed I don't have a puppy barking at my door at the moment. I'm hoping my daughter took care of her. If not, we'll hear her chewing on the door here in a moment. So, okay, I guess we already covered that one. I was going to ask what sparks your ideas for writing YA and children's books, because you also have the other one, uh, a not so what was
Yeah,
it?
and a not so simple quest.
A not so simple quest. That one is as separate from the Lightkeeper series.
Yes, that one is a cozy YA fantasy romance.
Okay. And so, what sparked the idea for that one? Because I know that your series that you're working on came from a writing prompt. Did this one come from a writing prompt too?
No, this one was kind of inspired by a series that another author was doing on TikTok, and hers was about like the assistant falling in love with the villain, which fantastic book, absolutely loved it. But I was like, what if, there was a villain and they really liked their assistant, but their assistant is really making their job hard. And so they want their assistant to die essentially, but they don't have the heart to kill them themselves. Except for when I started writing this assistant, I fell in love with her story, and then the villain just lost. It was no longer the villain's story; it was just her story, and then her quest, not completely oblivious that the person that she's working for doesn't like her and is secretly trying to kill her. But it was a lot of fun to write. And then I really fell in love with the male main character that I introduced for her as the love interest, and just watching her come into her own, and
Well,
it was good.
see, people, even YA can have people trying to kill you. Mine goes a little bit darker than that, so I don't think I can write any young adult series. I kind of get a little violent. But okay, so here's one. I really like the book trailer for The Lightkeeper that's on YouTube. In fact, I'm kind of leaning towards making a few of my own. I have quite a few ideas for it. Did you notice if it helped you at all get more eyes on your book? Because I noticed that The Lightkeeper, the first one, has like a lot of reviews, and the second one doesn't have nearly as many. But you didn't have a video out like this one did. So do you think that played a role in that, or was it just a
I
one-off?
think that the trailer would have done better had it been better established on social media, but it was like the first thing I put on YouTube, and I've got like 3 followers on YouTube, and so it was really hard to get a lot of attention on that trailer initially. And for book 2, I'm selling it pretty decently. I just can't seem to get people to come through with reviews. I knew it would take time. I did a big sale where I had the Lightkeeper was free through all of December last year, and I had like 1,700 downloads. It was insane. And
Nice.
so most of my sales this year have actually been for book 2 for people that are wanting to continue the series. But no one's rating it
No
or
one's ready. Yeah.
reviewing it, and I don't want to change that.
Yeah. Yep. That's one of the hard things we have to get past. Um,
Yeah, I
but
would
yeah,
definitely like to do a trailer for it. That's something I should look into.
have you ever thought it, did you ever share your trailer on like Twitter and Facebook and all those?
I did, but I am one of those people that it doesn't matter how many times I post, 12 people will see my posts on Twitter. I'm stuck in the 200 views category on TikTok. I'm lucky if I get 30 views on Instagram. I have a hard time getting anywhere. So I'm,
I feel you.
kind of hoping that I can build some more author friendships, that people with a bigger platform are able to share my stuff, and hope I'll get views through them. It's something I've been trying to work more on this year, especially now that Threads is up and coming, and the community there seems to be really strong and supportive.
Yeah. I've noticed that on Threads, I get way more engagement if I interact with somebody else's post. Nobody comments on my posts. But the moment I interact with somebody, I had one to go viral for one of the dumbest reasons, but it just like shot up. Like, how come my normal stuff can't do that? I don't know. I haven't figured it out either.
Yeah, when I launched my newest book, I was trying to build it up in the days leading up to it, and then when I was like, all right, here's my new book, it's launch day, and no one liked or commented or even saw the post. And so at the end of the day, I made a post kind of lamenting. I was like, oh well, I didn't really get any sales today, which is it's a bummer. And then that one I got 100 comments and like 600 likes. You're going, oh yeah, I understand. I was like, well.
Diana says that you seem like a pretty engaging person to me. This is when we were talking about your lack of engagement. Yeah, you like, I don't see you being one of the quiet, fade into the background people. You're pretty chipper and positive, so I don't see it.
I try to be. I think when I'm talking to other people, it's easier to be engaging. But when I'm just like, it's just me in front of my camera, I'm like, I don't
Oh,
I don't know what to do with
you
myself.
freeze up on camera. I love the camera. I
Yeah,
can't stand being in person.
people are so clever, and I don't get it.
Let's see. Neo asks, is there pressure to be on more than one social media platform? Do you feel that?
There definitely is, because people are like, oh, the community on X, Twitter is, so strong. You should definitely be there. And there are other authors who are like, no, all the community for that demographic is going to be on Instagram. If you're not Instagram, you're missing out. And then, of course, you see people going viral all the time on TikTok. And some people say that you should just focus on one instead of trying to spread yourself thin. But I guess the pressure is like, but what if I'm on the wrong one?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they one author that I'd like to follow, both on Twitter and Threads. She's on TikTok, and she does really well on TikTok. So I thought, I'll go ahead and make one. I've had my TikTok account for almost 2 months, and I have yet to put a video up. Just never really appealed to me. One of these days I'll make something. Do you have any future plans for your YouTube channel, or are you just gonna let it kind of just lay stagnant?
I am working on it. And I'm, because YouTube is really good for the long form content, and I just can't decide what I would like to talk about for 5 to 10 minutes versus a 60-second short. So when I make something for Reels or for TikTok, I'll try to throw it up on Shorts as well. But as far as just coming on here or talking or going live, I haven't decided what I would want to do with that. But I'd like to build my YouTube up more. Especially because I think that as far as like my middle grade reader groups, the people, the kids between like 10 and 16, they're probably on YouTube. So probably my best bet, honestly.
I believe that I have your YouTube channel in the description of this video. So if anybody who's watching, if you're interested, you can click on that link. If not, you can find her. I found it by just Googling Christina Wallace, author. And I'm telling you that the trailer was really cool. Who did the trailer for you? For Lightkeeper?
I don't have his name on top of my head, but he was someone that was highly recommended on Fiverr. And basically, I just gave him like my 12 talking points that I wanted to be in there. And then he went and found images and stuff to correlate it and put the music to it and did a really nice job.
Yeah, it came out really nice. I was quite impressed. I was kind of shocked you didn't have more. You said you're gonna do trailers for your second one though, right? That you would like to.
Yeah, it's something I'm working on, especially now that the audio book has come out. So I have 2 narrators for the book 2 audio, and so they've been really good about putting out the sound clips and stuff. And with summer vacation coming up, I really want to pitch to have both books as perfect for people going on road trips with 16 hours of audio. So if that doesn't keep you entertained, because it's great for families. And they do such a good job just bringing the characters to life and doing the different voices for all the characters, because it's a huge cast. And I absolutely love that. But I'm a very visual person, so I like to see pictures and stuff going with it. So I think that people that are like me, even if they hear it, they still want things to see. And so I think that it will help me get my point across better.
Yeah. Cool. What kind of stuff do you have on your TikTok? That I didn't look at, so I'm not sure what you have on your TikTok.
On my TikTok, I've done things like word of the day. I've tried to take the trending songs and do it from the perspective of my characters.
Well, that'd be fun.
But honestly, I haven't found that one thing that's really works for me. So if you get on there, it's very eclectic of me just trying lots of different things, looking for anything that'll stick. But I try to do like the page flip videos or the aesthetic videos where it just puts like a snippet of the book on there, and really just trying to see what I can do.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about trying, is using my favorite lines from my book, and I've got quite a few. Oh, your video froze. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Alrighty, let's see where we at. Out of all of the socials you're on, which do you feel has the better return for your time? And I'm also asking about overall engagement with readers, not necessarily just sales. Like what platform seems to be the more engaging, I guess, for you?
Right now, it is Threads. I've had pretty good luck. I mean, I still have plenty of posts that don't go anywhere, but for the posts that I have had, I get people talking to me. I'm seeing a lot more shares and likes there than I have anywhere else. And so I'm feeling really good about Threads, and I'm trying to really focus on that one right now. And then because Threads is connected to Instagram, I'm hoping that I can marry the two and have a visual and a text version that work.
So you throw up reels as well then?
Yes, I'm still trying to, because the reels, you're limited to only 90 seconds, whereas on TikTok you can have up to 10 minutes right now. So I'm trying to study what everybody else is doing for reels, because a lot of people, they'll just do a thing where they just kind of sit there and look at the camera spinning back and forth, and they just kind of put a couple words of text, and that's super engaging apparently. So I'm trying to figure out what I would put. I'm like, I don't want to smile at the camera for 10 seconds, but apparently that works. I did have one video that I did nail, I thought, and I got like my most views on Instagram. That was just kind of like one of those, POV, and I did for my new book that was POV. The really handsome knight says that if you happen to see an apple, he wouldn't say no, and then just a video of me quickly carrying a plate and stuffing an apple into my side and sneaking off screen. And that one did well, so I posted like that. Like,
That would be kind of fun.
I don't know what to do.
I was thinking about trying some of them, like having the camera zoom out slowly from a close-up view of the book, and then a couple of the lines of my favorite lines from the book, like "My quarrel isn't with you, but I'm afraid I can't let you eat that man." That's still my favorite line. That gives you a little bit of hint as to what I write. And right now you are working on you said you're working on your third book, and that will be out in July, right?
Yes, I'm
And
really
then,
excited about that one because it's not really a time. I call it a combination between like a time loop and a video game. And so they're kind of stuck in an alternate universe where the main character is no longer a lightkeeper, and his guardian is trying to figure out how to get them back to the world where they belong. But she's the only one that knows they're in the wrong world, and so it's her trying to convince this version of her best friend that doesn't remember her or what he's supposed to be doing. But every time something goes wrong, he resets, and she has to start over with him.
kind of like 50 First Dates.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you said you plan on having a new one every July? Do you plan
Yes. So
on?
I was trying to get the first three out really quick to establish my backlog and the readers' trust in me that I'm going to have more books coming out. But the kids, they grow up a year with each book, kind of like the Harry Potter, Percy Jackson books did. And so
Right.
I wanted to slow that down so that way the readers can still grow up with the characters while they're reading it. And that's why I'm also trying to establish the serials, which kind of take place in between the books and give them something to read and keep up with while they're impatiently awaiting the next book.
So what are you doing with the serials? Are you using something like Kindle Vella, or do you have a different platform?
I haven't launched it yet. I'm trying to do it with Patreon,
Uh,
just because Kindle Vella is only available in the US right now, and not all of my readers are US based. But I want to have different levels that give them different kinds of access to me. I'm trying to do a physical form as well, where I would mail out the episodes, because I know, like, my kids, they love getting mail. And so I had to think that a lot of kids feel special once they get something addressed to them in the mail. And so I kind of wanted to make that an experience for them.
well, that's fun. I used to, yeah, I remember those days. And then I became an adult. Now I like dread my mail. Nothing but
My
bills.
daughter gets very offended when I throw away the junk mail.
There could be something interesting in there.
She's like, "Don't throw it away, Mom." I'm like, "I don't need it."
You're going to be working on the serials. Do you have any plans to write anything in between while each book comes out in July? Like, do you plan on
Yes,
just
so
working on
I'll
these?
have
Go ahead.
yeah, I'll have my little spin-off series. So I have the True Tales of the Lightkeepers, which take place before my book begins. So way back, in the beginning of kind of civilization, when the fairies first started coming across the veil into the human world, and the Lightkeepers were first established. And so historically, from my universe, the true tale of Rapunzel, because she was a real person. This is what really happened, and the real Rumpelstiltskin and the real Cinderella, and so all those are historically accurate stories, but told from the perspective of the world of the Lightkeepers.
Yeah, fun. Ah, so so you're self-published. How much, well, that I don't want to really dive into that. That's kind of personal. Um, What kind of investments have you made that have been the most impactful for your writing, like writing tools or services that you've used?
I think my cover is my number one thing that I've needed. Sorry, my phone's dying. So it's definitely been the best investment because when people see my sign, like I have a tall like 4 foot sign, and people like I saw this, I had to ask you about it. So that was definitely my number one. I invested in Atticus. Oh no. Ugh,
What happened? Oh,
shoot.
now you're completely gone. Technical difficulties. It's all right. While we wait for her to come back.
Sorry, my phone died.
Oh,
I still can't hear. I apologize. If you can give me 1 second, I'm going to get on another phone real quick. I am
Okay.
so sorry. Is that okay?
no problem.
I will be right back.
Okay. Anywho, if anybody watching has any questions for um, Christina, go ahead and shout them out.
No, I'm not. My phone died.
Wouldn't be after hours without something breaking. I don't know what it is with my live streams. Last week it was power outage. Before it used to be Comcast crashing all the time. Oh, I'm cursed, I think. Hi guys, I missed the beginning. What are her books about? She writes YA fantasy. As soon as she's back with us, we can go ahead and have her describe them a little bit better. Her books are also available on the link in the description down below, as well as her social media stuff on Linktree and her blog. And I think I linked to the YouTube trailer for her book, but I'm not sure if I did or not.
You can't be in here.
But so yeah, it is really warm in my office. It's like 77 degrees. Quickly approaching 80. Between the lights, my computer, door being shut, I can't reach my window to open it because it's behind my bookshelf. But yeah, if you guys have questions, go ahead and list them off, and I'll make sure she gets to them as soon as she gets back. I need to be careful tonight. Rum and Coke to ask by. Oh, rum and Coke. What happened to Fireball? Blasphemer. Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper Fireball. Love flaming Dr. Peppers. Even with the Dr. Pepper Zero. Oh. Okay. Cool. Alright, we're starting to amass a few questions here, both on phone and on chat. So as soon as Christina gets back. Fireball has been consumed in entirety. Oh. Mine's almost gone, my keg. Which has like 3 bottles. Uh-oh. Actually gone altogether. Hey, KDC, how's it going, buddy?
Sorry, I super apologize about my phone.
No, it's no problem. Yeah, it happens. Like I was saying, telling everybody, it wouldn't be my show if something didn't blow up, catch on fire, or crash.
I saw it going down. I plugged it in, but the charger I chose was not the right charger, and then it just died immediately.
Oop. Yeah, it happens. Christmas in July is coming. What does that mean? What do you want about Chris? I've got a few questions for you, so ready from viewers. So there we go. I honestly can't remember what we were talking about though.
Sorry. I, I'm normally way better than that. My phone was at like 24%. I thought it would hold me over, and I was very wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. Okay, so here's Samantha asks, what do you do when you don't like your story halfway through? If you ever had that problem.
Normally, I will write it to the end anyway, and then when I have the chance to read it all the way through, I can find the areas that I don't like about it. When I was writing this first draft of the third book, I got to the point that I'm like, I know this beginning is way too short. I literally wrote, something happens here. I don't care. We're moving on. And I just skipped ahead to the part that I was ready to write. And then when I came back, I was like, okay, now what happens here? What am I going to do with this stupid note that I left myself? I did figure it out, but I've had times, I participate in National Novel Writing Month, which is the goal of writing 50,000 words. And yeah, in the month of November. And I've had stories that I wrote, the first 7 days hitting all my word count goals. And I go, I hate this story. No, then I just brand new idea and it's really over. Increasing my word count goal. But, I've had a few that I'm like, I don't like where this is going and I'm not doing it. And I just started over with something new.
Oh, there you go. I write out of order all the time. So like in Kingmaker, I wrote the ending to Kingmaker before I even started chapter 1. I knew how it was going to end. I'm a plotter. But the events of the story changed drastically how I had to finish it. So I had to go back and polish up quite a bit of the ending because things changed. But yeah, there's times where I'll just leave a note to myself, like I'll put it in brackets, like with characters' names. Like I didn't name one character until I was like 3/4 of the way through the book. I just put new character name. So good times. Let's see, where were we? I have one on the phone. I thought I had another one there. Okay, what kind of research did you do for your characters? These were part of your writing prompt, but did you have to go back and like research anything at all, or is it all just 100% fancy?
Most of the research that I do has to do with fairy lore. For the most part, I try to make up my own fairies, but I also like to take inspiration from the fantasy creatures that are in human lore. So who are the ghosts that haunt ancient China, or the origins of the kind of fae and the elves that are really prevalent in like Norway. And I try to see how it's written, that the way that they are, and then how I want to twist it to make sense for my world, so that way people can see things that are familiar to them. So in the True Tales of the Lightkeepers, I have the Baba Yaga mentioned, and so I had to research how that was described and how one would defeat it and that kind of thing.
So you have a character that's like John Wick? The Baba Yaga comment just...
Yeah, so all of these these creatures that we know and have our own lore about in the world of the Lightkeeper, that's because those were all real creatures, and the only reason they're not haunting us now is because the Lightkeepers were able to capture them and remove them as a threat. And then now we just have the tales that we pass on that have been butchered and like the grim tales. They all have it wrong, but here's the true story from the Lightkeeper's perspective of how it really went down.
That's one of the coolest things about being a fantasy author, is that you can make up any rule you want. As long as the audience buys it, you're golden. I made quite a few changes in my latest book for Wraiths, so it's gonna be fun. Chris asks, are you doing camp this month? So NaNoWriMo also runs like 3 times a year, is it? I know.
Yeah, they do a camp in the early spring, and then I think midsummer typically. I don't normally participate in the camps because I am writing all over the place. So I set aside time in November for a new project, but during the year, I keep my publishing schedule very packed, and I wouldn't really be able to participate with a cabin or anything like that. So I'm just better off maintaining my own writing goals and what I'm trying to achieve during that time.
Yep, there you go. That's something I fail at. I often put way too much on my plate. Diana says, it's good to hear about your and Michael's process for writing stories. Sounds messy, but that's good because I do the same things. Yeah, I think every author has a mess of how they put things together. Like I will think when I'm writing my books, I view it quite cinematically. So when I do dialogue, I'll actually write out the dialogue and I'll say it out loud, so that if it doesn't make sense or if it makes me cringe, I rewrite it. I want it to be, uh, if Netflix was to pick it up, I want it to be just like this book. So,
Yeah.
do you have any kind of weird quirks that
Yeah.
you do?
I mean, I definitely see all the scenes as movies in my mind before I write them. And so, when I'm thinking about like character, what they're doing when they're moving, I'm trying to like gesture that I love if someone's like holding their face. I'm like, how do they hold their face? Like I'm always making faces at myself and kind of mimicking movements. I want to make sure that it's right. And, really make sure that I'm hitting that tone. And so for me, when The Lightkeeper came out, one of the greatest compliments I received is someone's like, oh, it reads very, um, no, cinematographic. Wrong word, but it's very movie like. And I was like, yes, that's what I want, because when I first started writing, I always thought that I was going to write movie scripts, and then I switched to writing novels as a way of making myself write in more detail. So getting something adapted is definitely one of my big dreams.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Actually, Andy Maslin also, he's an author in Great Britain. He thinks quite cinematically. In fact, he has a lot of the same um, behaviors I have when I'm writing. So it's really cool to how many authors actually have a lot of the same um, flow with their stuff. Like, when you write your characters, do you envision what actor would play the role and then describe it as best you can, or do you just?
For older characters, I can, but as far as Isaac and Yara in my series, because they're 12, 13, 14 in these early books, I don't watch Nickelodeon or Disney Junior these days, so I don't really know many child actors as of right now, and
Yeah,
it's really weird searching oh, cool
that's
12-year-old boy. People like,
that's
It's
yeah,
like,
that's
never mind, Google. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's gonna get you on a list somewhere.
Yeah, so but I always imagined that if it were to be adapted for film or TV, that I'd want to kind of do like what Harry Potter did, where they took kind of like unknown actors and then became really big names through their, work on the series. So
Yeah,
I think that whoever's going to play my characters is not yet discovered.
well, cool. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, that's the last thing you want somebody seeing on your search bar.
Yeah.
Pictures of 12-year-olds. No, let's not do that. Let's see. Sam asks, I probably missed it, but what age ranges do you gear your stories for? So yours is
So the Lightkeeper series is ages 8 and up. It reads at more of a fourth to fifth grade level, but there are some third graders that are able to, they read ahead of their ages. But the nice thing about my books is that and up really does matter. I've had most of my reviews actually come from adults who really enjoy reading middle grade, and they've really enjoyed it. So I really try to pitch this as a family friendly book, like one that you can literally sit down everybody together, and the adults enjoy it just as much as the kids do.
so kind of like the Harry Potter series. Harry
Mm-hmm.
Potter series. Cool. Um, let's see. I saw that there it is. Hi guys, I missed the beginning. This is from Chris. What are her books about? Can you give us a breakdown of your Lightkeeper series? Kind of like a
Yeah, so the
blurb.
Lightkeeper is about Isaac. All of his friends over the summer got the brand new video game, and he thought he was going to get it for his birthday, and he didn't get it. And school has started. Everybody's talking about it, and he's really bummed. And so he agrees to clean the attic in exchange for having his parents buy him this video game. But when he gets up to the attic, it's overpacked with all these packing boxes that were his late grandfather's. And he finds this mysterious chest that's locked with this padlock that has these strange symbols on it. And he's like, well, I need it in that box. And so he goes to the efforts of finding this key to unlock it. But inside are just these glass balls that have names carved in them. He's like, why would anybody go out of their way to lock up what seems like ornaments? But when he holds it in his hand, it has this golden glow to it. And he fumbles it and it breaks. And then this fog fills the room and this man appears who he learns is a fairy. And the first thing he asks is, do you know my name? And so Isaac guesses that it was the word that was carved on the ball. And the fairy says, I'm at your service. What 3 tasks will you have me do? And so basically anything that Isaac asks, the fairy will do for him. And after he frees this fairy through the 3 tasks, he realizes that all those other balls are fairies too. And so he just starts releasing a lot of them because he's going to live his best life. They do his homework, they do his chores, they get him snacks from down the road, and he's living large. Except for all these bad things start happening in his town, and he later learns that the fairies are the cause of this. And he finally eventually gets caught red-handed by his mom and learns that he is something called a lightkeeper, and they have the responsibility of trapping fairies who cause harm to humans. And so he has to figure out how to become this lightkeeper and recapture all these fairies that he's released before they tear open the veil between the human and fairy worlds.
Fun. Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of bad things can happen when you start releasing demons and fairies.
Yeah. And then book 2, Isaac and Yara are going to London in search of the missing fairy prince. And while they're there, Yara is kidnapped by fairies and taken to the fairy world. And it's dual POV. So Isaac decides that he's got to go to the fairy world to rescue her. But she can't expect that help is coming because it's incredibly dangerous and stupid for a human to voluntarily go to the human world. So she's likewise trying to find her own way home. And it's just back and forth in the different areas of the fairy world that they're in, trying to get back to their world and find each other.
Fun. Chris says that sounds like such a fun story concept. Yeah, it does. It's
Thank you.
quite a bit different. And if you're interested in buying the book, the link is in the description down below. And it's got great ratings, by the way. I think it was like, yeah, it was like really good ratings.
Yeah, the ebook is on sale this week, so it's 99 cents at most retailers. Amazon is being slow to the game to catch up on the price drop. They say that it will be coming, so if you want the ebook, it's a good week to get it because it's only 99 cents right now.
Have you ever thought about selling your books directly off your website?
I am working on setting up my own website because I actually have a lot of collectibles that I've made. Like I've made the fairy glass, I've made healing
fun.
vials, I've made bags of trapping rice. So I tried to really bring the world to life through all these little tokens that you can see in the book. And I bring those to the little trade fairs and stuff that I go to. And so that's something that I'm trying to work on setting up. But I do pretty well selling my books in person. I have such a pretty poster.
That's what my mom did, posters for her book. She got posters, coffee mugs. She has a medallion made out of the angelic symbol that's in the book. She went all out on the merch. So I've got,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's like right there. That's mom's coffee mug. The poster I still got to get a frame for. So you do go to the, I don't want to call them book fairs, like the what are they called? The expos, kind of like the book expos, or do you just?
Yeah, I'm working on finding more of those. I went to the Louisville Book Festival back in last November, and that was a lot of fun. I did Books by the Bay here in Pensacola, Florida, just a few weeks ago. And I'm actually working on doing author visits at elementary schools. I had my first one last month, and it went very well. So
Fun.
trying to worked my way into getting in front of more of my reader demographic.
That's cool. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
I had another question and I lost it.
Okay.
I am so tired. um, wow, yeah, my mind went totally blank. Oh no. It was about your, what's the not so, I forgot the name of it again.
And Not So Simple Quest.
Not so simple quest. It's not a not so simple name. Yeah, what one's that about? That one's geared towards more of the younger audience, right?
No, it's YA, so I would say ages 12 up. It's a cozy romantic fantasy, but it's clean. It's not fade to black. There's no black. It's just only kisses. um, so one of my reviewers called it Tangled meets Legends and Lattes. They said that the main characters definitely give you Rapunzel and Flynn Rider vibes. So Melodia, she is an elf orc halfling. And people call any mixed bloods like that abominations. And so, to keep her safe, she's never been allowed to leave the castle she works in as a sorcery apprentice. But she accidentally lets a captured knight escape, and he steals a vial of ghost wort, which is a very powerful ingredient, from the sorceress. And so, Melodia has this chance to go out and prove herself and to go fetch this ingredient. And for the first time ever, she leaves the castle to go find this ingredient, which is in an incredibly dangerous area. And on her way, she runs into this same knight that she let escape. And he decides that he's going to come with her because she's going to get herself killed in this very dangerous thing. And so they're very butting heads in the beginning because she doesn't want his help because it's his fault that she's in this situation in the first place. And he just thinks that she can't do anything because she's never left the castle. So what could she possibly know about the world? But they find that they make a very good team and they get in a lot of dangerous situations. And he protects her, she heals him. And, so tension starts building and she starts wondering that if maybe she should return to the castle at all. Maybe the world has more for her than this life that she's always known does. And so she really comes into her own power as a sorceress and comes to trust herself more and thinks that maybe that she's not been living life the way she should have.
Chris asks, how did you start the business side? Like once you had your first completed book, how did you start from scratch? I think he missed the part with the failed publishing at the very beginning. But like, how did you start the business side of it from the very beginning?
Yeah, so I reached out to some other authors who were already well established in indie publishing to figure out the things I needed to do, like as far as filing with the Library of Congress and getting my copyright and how to get my books into libraries and into Barnes and Noble. So like my book is in my local bookstore because I went there and said, hey, will you put my book in your store?
Nice.
And so how to get it set up on the back end that they were willing to do that. And so it was really cool for me because I wanted to see my book on a real bookstore shelf. And it is.
Hey, nice.
And so it's been figuring out little pieces here and there. My second book was messier because I had to do it from start to finish on my own, trying to figure out the editing and how much time my cover designer would need. And so it's definitely been a process. Checklists help to help you know what you need to do coming up, and then really just fostering those author friendships with people who are in your similar genres, who can help talk you up to their readers and share newsletter swaps and things like that.
So you'd say networking is probably one of the biggest drivers.
Word of mouth is always going to be greater than any ad could ever do.
Oh yeah.
So it's nice to have people who can vouch for you. And it sounds like your genre and my genre are very different. So you saying, "Oh, The Lightkeeper is a great book," I mean, they go, "I mean, maybe, but probably not your reader's genre typically either." But if I have somebody who writes along the lines of Percy Jackson, them saying The Lightkeeper is a great book, they'll go, "Oh, okay, I believe you."
Yeah, my books are, well, they're both fantasy. Mine are a little bit more on the gory side, but they're both fantasy. I don't know if I could write a kid's book. Someone's gonna.
Yeah, I try to keep the gore out of mine. The ending battle is pretty brutal, but nobody dies.
Oh. See, I have a habit of killing all kinds of people, even main characters. I think. Let's see, do we have any more? KDC says, "I wish my writing could sound like a movie. That's such a great compliment." This is a
It made me
response.
very happy to hear.
What was that?
So that made me very happy to hear when I got that compliment. As I said, it's my favorite one that I've received.
Yeah. That's the whole trick to writing a good book is to show, not tell. You apparently showed everybody, so that is right up there. Chris says if Michael wrote a children's book, he would be arrested. I don't know about being arrested. One of them would go to die. Probably gruesome death. Anyway, I think that would be my puppy squeezing her pig up against my door. I guess that's. Does anybody have any questions before we call this a night? We've had her on for about an hour now. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. It was really nice to meet you. Your book sounds amazingly fun, and if anybody out there has kids or would like that kind of YA romance fantasy, right? Kind of.
Yeah, Lightkeeper, urban fantasy, and then Not So Simple Quest is fantasy romance.
Okay. If you'd like that kind of stuff, the link is in the description down below. It leads you to her website, and I also have her Amazon link to her books on my video as well. So, yeah, I think that it about wraps it up. Is there anything else that you would like to say real quick before we go, or?
No, I said I talked about that the book one is on sale, so it's a great time. And both my books are now on audio. So if you have kids that like to listen and read along, the audiobooks are fantastic. Book 2 has dual narrators, and they do an excellent job at bringing the books to life.
That's awesome. I would love to have Kathy Bates read my book. Anywho, thank you for hanging out with us, and have a great evening.
All right, thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome anytime. Bye-bye. All right, let me see if I can. That was a lot of fun. Her book sounds really fun. I don't know if it'd be anything I would be interested in reading. I'm not a big fan of YA stuff, but the concept is kind of cool, so that's really neat. Definitely, I don't know. She says that she kind of fades in the back, but I don't get that. She's very engaging, very interactive. So, wow, my hair's a wreck. Anywho, I figured now we would do our card. But yeah, her trailer, like Angela also, my sister, she has a trailer for her book. And Tate Publishing had that created, and it's kind of similar, but it gave me a lot of ideas for mine. So I think it's kind of a neat idea, and it's quite shareable. YouTube videos can be embedded in just about anything nowadays. You can slap it in a blog, social media post. So I would like to do stuff like that. I'm looking for the other box of cards because we just read our last one last week. Out of this one, I don't know where the other deck went. Uh-oh. Just ones I would like to have a night where things aren't lost or Well, oh, there we go. Found them. We also have the pink one up there too, but I don't think the pink ones had very good quotes to it. Okay, so our affirmation for the day last week was today I am at peace. Today I am at peace with all that has happened, all that is happening, and all that will happen. Boy, did I fail that one. I'm never at peace. Oh, yeah, one of these days I'll get to sleep. Alrighty. So now those ones are done. We move on to the black deck again, which we started 2 years ago. Has it really been that long? 52. This one has 54. So we've done this for a year. Yeah, that one has 24. Okay, so a year and a half is how long we've been doing these. I can't get this in that deck. There we go. Hey, haircut. Boop. Alrighty. Okay, here we go. We'll shuffle these up. Okay. First one. Now these are the ones that have the stuff on the back that you fill out. So we'll try it this way. This week's affirmation is, I am worthy of happiness and love. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Don't tell me that. I need to be peace. I need peace. I'll never get it, but I need it. Anyway, I am worthy of happiness and love. And then every day, something I can achieve today is, and then we write down what we're doing. Go to the Sith. See, I thought that sounded familiar. Was that on that meditation video? I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but so anyway, our affirmation every day is, I am worthy of happiness and love. And then every day, let's write down something I can achieve today is, and then write down one thing that you can achieve that day. And you know what? I'm going to do it in pencil so that we can do these again. I think I did the last one in pencil too. But I will find my pencil tomorrow because I have no idea where to look for a pencil. I prefer a piece of pie if I'm looking for peace. Yeah, punch and pie. Piece of pie would be nice too. Cherry, lemon meringue. What else? Blueberry, obviously. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Don't forget that Christina Wallace's books are available on Amazon and everywhere else, apparently. I only got the link to her Amazon, but I do have the link to her link tree, which is in the video's description. That'll take you to all of her good stuff that she has all over, as well as her blog. Is that a pencil in your pocket? No. Sorry, totally missed the card. Really? A woody pencil. Anyway. Oh, now that she's gone, you're going out. She's gone. Everybody rip off their shirts. All right. So anyway, card, Chris, is today I am worthy of happiness and love. Be happy and be loved. Realize that you are worthy of it. I know I am. I love myself all the time. And then every day, write down one thing you can achieve today. And try not to be basic, like breathe. Really put in the effort to achieve something. I know I'm going to. I don't know if anybody read my blog post for Crossing Colorado, but I had a kind of a come to Jesus moment with myself yesterday. Anyway, you first. I'll take off. I'm not taking off the tank top though. I ain't want to take off my shirt. It's freaking hot though. Besides, I'll wind up deleting all this later anyway, so it doesn't matter. Being worthy of happiness and love is not the same as having it. Well, what a downer. Yeah. Yeah, but aren't you married? Don't you have love? So what did Jesus say? I don't know. What? Loophole. What do you... Oh, I just had to come to Jesus meeting. Took me a minute. My bad. I'm tired, man. That actually reads a blog post because I wrote down 4 things that were essentially holding me back all week last week. And then I came up with 3 ways that I could accomplish or I could beat all 4 of them. And I was thinking objectively with myself, which means you remove emotion and feelings from it. You're basing information on pure fact, not feelings. I'm relatively good at thinking objectively about myself. I've been doing it for quite a long time, so I can sit back and not have a pity party, but realize where I fucked up and what I can do to change it. So it's not a very easy skill to learn, but it's worth it if you can. Are we all drunk or is it just Michael? No, I haven't had a single drink. I had water. I even have the calories to afford a fireball, which I want to pour after this show. But for now, I've just been down on water. Went to the gym this morning, then I played the Oculus. I played Beat Saber, and I put the 1 pound weights on my arms. And oh my God, that's a different game. Everything from here to here was sore. It felt like somebody just ripped in and grabbed half my bicep and half my tricep and was ripping out of my body. It was not a happy day. It hurt. So anywho, here we go. Last time, and then I'm going to get off and get some fireball. I am worthy of happiness and love, and yes, we all are, damn it. Even those who want to jump on their pity bandwagon. Quit it. Every day, write down something I can achieve today. I'm going to, first thing in the mornings. And I'm going to be realistic with it. And more than just breathing or something mundane. Doesn't recognize true love and happiness help with being worthy, wanting it, and wanting to have it. Doesn't recognizing true love and happiness help with being worthy, wanting it, and wanting to have it? I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what. Maybe I'm just tired, but it just flew over my head, Neo. I'm sorry. Well, I'll let you go. Hey, have a great week, all. Yep, have a great week. Don't forget that Sam and I will be on tomorrow night on Crossing Colorado's podcast. Eventually, I'll get them uploaded to Spotify. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always hit me up on social media, usually on Threads. I'm pretty active there at the moment. I do respond to my Twitters if somebody sends me a tweet. I'm not going to call it X. And with Facebook, it's a shot in the dark. Sometimes I get my messages 4 hours later. But if you leave a comment on any one of my videos, I get those immediately as I work, and I'm usually pretty damn quick to respond. In fact, YouTube is probably the fastest thing that I respond to, mostly because it's always open. And I have 2 monitors for that reason. You can also reach out to me on WriterSanctuary's contact form, and that'll get emailed to me as well. And if you are an author or have a book published and you would like to be on the show for an interview, I do have a contact form on WriterSanctuary.com's website, specifically for author interviews. I still have to make a specific page. Right now it's just a post, but it's there. Wanting happiness and love and waiting for happiness and love. I don't know. I am worthy of happiness and love, and I am happiness. I am happy. it's like I've said before. I am essentially single by choice because I don't ever put in the effort to look. If somebody wants to share my life with me, great. If not, I'm still happy. So I guess that's the key to life, is being happy regardless. And I am. I sound like a cat knocking over a gate and smashing into the wall. Chaos reigns supreme. Anywho, thank you for watching. I'll be on tomorrow with Sam, and then don't forget that we do have a writing sprint tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. And yes, I do have a new sound effect ready for the sprint. So 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 9 or 11:30. Oh, backwards. 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Right? 10:30 Mountain Time. Look it up in Google. But I'll be on. So, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing if you guys like the new sound effect. So, but have a good one, and I will see you next time.